Good morning from Raleigh, North Carolina. I am coming to you from Honeycutt Park. Off of Honeycutt, I guess across from the freeway, 540. So I guess it would be over 540 on Honeycutt. At any rate, I am going to continue reading Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. Now, I'm probably not going to go for too much longer. We'll probably go for a little while longer. But anyway, this is from Meditations to translation George Long. By Marcus Aurelius. So, anyway, let's keep going. I don't have my glasses with me, by the way, so I'm probably going to be squinting a good deal. Hopefully I don't make too many mistakes. All right. Okay. Verse 5. Every moment think readily as a Roman and a man to do what thou hast in hand with perfect and simple dignity and feeling of affection and freedom and justice, and to give thyself relief from all other thoughts. And thou wilt give thyself relief if thou dost every act of thy life as if it were the last, laying aside all carelessness and passionate aversion from the commands of reason, and all hypocrisy and self-love and discontent with the portion which has been given to thee. Thou seest how few the things are, the which if a man lays hold of. Let's do that again. The which if a man lays hold of, he is able to love a life which flows in quiet and is like the existence of the gods. For the gods, on their part, will require nothing from him who observes these things. Verse 6. Do wrong to thyself. Do wrong to thyself, my soul, thou wilt no longer have the opportunity of honoring thyself. Every man's life is sufficient, but thine is nearly finished. Though thy soul reverences not itself, but places thy felicity in the souls of others. Verse 7. Do the things external which fall upon thee distract thee. I'm going to read that again. Verse 7. Do the things external which fall upon thee distract thee. Give thyself time to learn something new and good, and cease to be whirled around. But then thou must also avoid being carried about the other way. For those two are triflers who have wearied themselves in life by their activity, yet have no object to which to direct every moment, and in a word, all their thoughts. This is verse 8. Through not observing what is in the mind of another a man. I'm going to read that again. Verse 8. through not observing what is in the mind of another, a man has seldom been seen to be unhappy. But those who do not observe the movements of their own minds must of necessity be unhappy. Verse 9. This thou must always bear in mind. What is the nature of the whole, and what is my nature, and how this is related to that? And what kind of a part is it of? What kind of a whole? Let me read that again. And what kind of part is it of what kind of a whole? And that there is no one who hinders thee from always doing and saying things which are according to the nature of which thou art a part. That was Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, translated by George Long. George Long lived in the 19th century. And he translates it from the Greek. Now, I think there's a few things I want to press in mind. One, once again, this is Stoicism. So hopefully you notice here that he's talking a lot about others, but he's also talking about what you are responsible for. What comes from, if you will, within. And in many ways, although it's mentioned briefly here, the idea of, being, accountable to the gods, and the gods requiring nothing more if you just follow these basic precepts. So, I don't know. I think it's interesting. And once again, it's difficult because obviously a Christian is going to find little comfort. Maybe he'll find great comfort in this, or people of other faiths, who may well have fallen victim, if you will, to persecution under the Roman Empire. But you can imagine, given that this person was responsible for Christian persecution, it's difficult to find comfort, if you're looking at the person and not the words, I suppose. I want to talk briefly about Hellenization, very briefly. Okay, so I'm not sure. I mean, most of you may know, or maybe some don't. Hellas. Okay, so when we talk about Hellenization, we're talking about the idea of basically the spreading of Greek culture, Greek language, and Greek people. I think we principally talk about it during, if you will, the period that follows Alexander the Great, but it also happens before. It also happens before as well. And you basically have this idea, or some have basically brought about the thought that, hey, you know what? In this area, especially in this Mediterranean world, there are probably more Greeks here than are in, if you will, Greece proper, if you want to look at it that way. Greece is not a nation state yet, but rather a collection of city-states. When Rome takes over, this idea of Hellenization is not going away. And matter of fact, Rome is finding itself, if you will, as a victim of it too. We noticed this, around the time of Cato, the elder, who is in the office of the censor. You wonder where the term censor comes from. And he was noticing that Greek culture was infiltrating Rome. And this is, of course, after, obviously Greece becoming a colony of Rome. Clients say colony of Rome. But anyway, so Greece is infiltrating Rome. And who does he have to? I mean, who do the Romans have to blame for this? Clearly, the Romans, right? But they notice, if you will, that speaking Greek is becoming an issue, and in other items, and the Romans themselves, basically incorporate much of the Greek pantheon, right, to Rome. Basically, you have the Roman pantheon, and you know what I mean, right? The gods. They're coming from where? They're coming from obviously they're coming from the Etruscans, but they're also, we're also seeing, if you will, the Greek gods also being incorporated, or at least properties of the Greek gods, right? So you have these Greek equivalents, Ares, Mars, Hermes, Mercury, right? Zeus, Jupiter, Kronos, Saturn, right? So at any rate, so that's coming in, but this Hellenization is not going away. It is not going away. What was Cato? Second? Quite a bit before the Common Era, that's for sure. And now we're into the Common Era, and what we have here, this guy's about 161 to 180 ruling, and he is speaking Greek as well, or at least he knows the language. Now, there is a common misconception, or maybe not common, but I have heard at least one person bring this up, that people in Rome spoke Greek and used Latin only for law. No, that's not true. First of all, you ever heard of Catullus? He's writing poetry, if you will, in Latin, right? You have the Aeneid in Latin, correct? So the Latin language, they are speaking the Latin language in Rome. But it is true that Greece is giving Rome a run for its money. What else I want to bring up here? So that is an issue that we are seeing, certainly even during Marcus Aurelius' time, and even once you get into Constantine, Paul, who is a Hellenized, if you will, Jew. In other words, he is a Greek-speaking Jew. And it will be to the point where Greek will actually become the official language of the Eastern Roman Empire, Nova Roma. Eastern, that's actually another word for Constantinople, but also the Eastern Roman Empire, if you will, the Byzantine Empire. Well, at any rate, that's all I want to get into today. I am not sure. I may revisit this, but I'm thinking I may well go on to other readings. So anyway, take care. Bye-bye. And I appreciate you if you're able to listen to, if you were able to go through this. I know we got lots of things in our lives. And certainly, I'm guessing that I'm not a big part of your life. But I appreciate for any time you were able to listen to any of this. All right, take care. Bye-bye.